It was just another ordinary day for her, or so she thought. She was at the crowded coffee shop, waiting in line for her usual morning drink, when she saw him. He was standing near the window, staring out at the busy street. Something about him caught her attention. Maybe it was the way his eyes seemed lost in thought, or how the world around him seemed to blur out. Without meaning to, her eyes followed him, and when he turned around, their gazes met. For a brief moment, the world seemed to stop. She quickly looked away, her heart racing. What was that? She thought. It wasn't like her to feel this way about someone she had just seen. He didn't say a word, but there was something in his eyes, a mystery, something she couldn't place. She felt an instant pull, like she was drawn to him in a way she couldn't explain. It wasn't love, but it was something deeper, something unfamiliar. As she picked up her coffee and walked out of the shop, she couldn't shake the feeling that their paths would cross again. Little did she know, this brief encounter would change everything in ways she never expected. Days passed, but she couldn't stop thinking about him. Every time she walked through the city, her mind wandered back to that brief moment in the coffee shop. There was something magnetic about him, something she couldn't ignore. One evening, as she was walking home, she saw him again. This time, he was sitting alone at a park bench, staring at the stars above. His face was calm, but there was a sadness in his eyes that made her want to know more about him. Without even thinking, she walked toward him, drawn by an invisible force. He looked up when she approached. "Hey," she said softly, unsure of what she was doing. To her surprise, he smiled. "Hey," he replied, his voice warm, but there was still a distant look in his eyes. They began talking, the conversation flowing easily, yet there was something unspoken between them. He didn't share much about his life, but she could tell he was carrying a burden. It was clear he was different, mysterious, quiet, and a bit of a loner. The more she spoke to him, the more intrigued she became. She was sure of one thing: she couldn't walk away from this. Something told her their story was just beginning. As days turned into weeks, their encounters became more frequent. They met by chance at the park, at a bookstore, and sometimes just in the quiet corners of the city. Each meeting felt like fate, but something was off. She could sense he was hiding something, a part of him he wasn't ready to share. One evening, they sat together on a bench by the river. The sun had just set, casting a soft glow over the water. He seemed different that day, quiet, distant. She looked at him, wondering if she should ask, but something held her back. "I've never told anyone this," he began suddenly, breaking the silence. "But I think it's time you knew." Her heart skipped a beat. Was he about to tell her everything? He took a deep breath before continuing. "There's a part of my life that I can't escape. It's complicated, and I've made choices that hurt people. Choices I can never undo," he confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. She sat there, stunned. The mystery surrounding him grew deeper. What kind of past did he have? What was so painful that he couldn't let go of it? She was scared to ask more, but couldn't ignore the feeling that his secrets would soon come to light. The next few days were filled with silence between them. She could feel the weight of his words lingering in the air, and it made her uneasy. The more she thought about it, the harder it became to ignore the truth he had hinted at. He was hiding something, and it wasn't just a small secret. It was something that could change everything between them. One evening, she couldn't hold back any longer. She found him at the park, sitting on the same bench where they had talked so many times before. This time, she didn't wait for him to speak. "Tell me the truth," she said softly, her voice shaking slightly. "What's really going on? What are you hiding?" He turned to her, his expression unreadable. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. He seemed torn, as if he was battling with himself over what to say. "I'm in a situation," he began, where I have to make a choice. I can't have both, you or my past. I have to leave one behind, and I don't know if I can let you go. Her heart sank. She could see the struggle in his eyes, the pain he was holding inside. She was afraid of what this decision might mean for them. Would their love survive this choice, or would it crumble under the weight of his past? The days that followed were filled with confusion and uncertainty. She tried to understand his pain, but the more she thought about it, the more she realized how complicated everything had become. He loved her, but he also had someone he couldn't let go of from his past. She sat in her apartment, staring out the window, wondering if she was strong enough to face whatever came next. Could she really ask him to choose her over his past? She didn't want to be the one to make him give up everything he knew, everything he had. But the more she thought about it, the more she realized that she couldn't walk away. She loved him too much. Her heart wanted him, wanted to be with him no matter the cost. But the question lingered. Was she willing to lose everything she had worked so hard for to be with him? One evening, they met at the same park, both lost in their thoughts. "I can't do this to you," he said, his voice filled with regret. "You deserve someone who can give you everything. I'm not that person." Her heart ached, but she refused to back down. "I don't care about anything else. I want to be with you. I'm willing to lose everything for us." He looked at her, his eyes filled with sadness and love. But the truth remained. If they were to be together, one of them had to sacrifice something big. Would she be strong enough to make that choice? Or would their love fall apart under the weight of their own sacrifices? The tension between them had reached its breaking point. Each passing day felt like a lifetime as they both struggled with the choices ahead. Her heart ached at the thought of losing him, but she couldn't ignore the voice inside her telling her that love wasn't supposed to come with so many painful decisions. If they were meant to be together, it had to be without all the sacrifices and regrets. One rainy evening, she met him again at the park, the place where everything had started. The rain fell softly, but it felt as though the weight of the world was pressing down on them. She could see it in his eyes. He was hurting, torn between his past and the future he could have with her. "I've made my decision," he said quietly, his voice heavy with emotion. "I can't keep living in the past. I have to let it go. But I need you to understand. This might not be easy. I don't know what the future holds, and I'm scared that I might lose you anyway." Her heart raced, the fear of losing him battling with her desire to stay strong. She looked at him, her voice trembling. "I want you. I've always wanted you. But I can't do this alone. We need to face whatever comes next together." In that moment, it became clear she had made her choice. But whether it would be the right one, or if their love could survive the heartbreak ahead, she didn't know. All she could do was trust that they could overcome anything together. The days after their decision were filled with uncertainty, yet there was a sense of hope. They faced the world together, but the weight of their past still lingered. Every choice, every step, felt like a test of their love. Could they survive the pain of their decisions? Could they truly build a future without letting the past tear them apart? One fateful night, everything came to a head. He received a call, a reminder of the life he had tried to leave behind. It was a reminder of the consequences of the choice he had made. She saw the panic in his eyes as he spoke on the phone, his words sharp and desperate. "I have to go," he said, hanging up. "Something's happened. I need to fix it. It's the last thing I need to do before I can truly be free." She didn't know what to say. The world they had built together was on the edge of falling apart, but she knew she couldn't let him go again. "I'm with you," she said, her voice steady despite the fear in her heart. "Whatever happens, I'll be here." Together, they faced the ultimate test of their love. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't without sacrifice. But through every challenge, they learned that true love wasn't about having everything. Sometimes it was about facing the hardest moments together and knowing that, no matter the outcome, they had each other. In the end, love did conquer all. They were stronger together, ready to face whatever the future held, side by side.